I can't make this up. I cannot make this up. If this is not something, then they also, conveniently enough, excluded themselves from the Wayback Machine.
Smart.
In case they ever got into drama. There's nothing like to look at.
Smart.
Which I also found very suspicious.
Very smart.
Okay, so how does this link back to Quinfall? Besides it just being the same people, being almost the same, like, lifespan of the game, what happens? Well, there's one thing is, first, they said all the betas...
The NDA one only is free, aka they choose who gets in. Beta is now paid, contradicting the trailer, not allowed on Steam.
To free. That got changed. Now it says the first beta will be free, but that's the one under NDA.
Okay.
Every other beta will be paid, but we don't know anything about the game now at that point.
Open betas will be paid.
So it's basically know nothing, pay for beta.
Oh my god.
So this is a good old money grabber. This is definitely something that grabs money and lets people want to get in from their, in my opinion, fake.
This is crazy. But I feel like everything is wrong with this. It's not even like one thing. I feel like everything is. It's like the whole game.
Trailers also gave us one more critical information. It showed the menu. Which button do you think this MMO has? That every MMO has. A big, shiny button normally.
Store button?
It's not as shiny in this one. But you know exactly what is coming. It says store. So yeah.
Yeah.
Get ready for paid beta with a cash shop. Because they pulled...
A paid beta with a cash shop. Man. These guys saw a day before... Or the day before, yeah, the day before. The day after, I don't remember even what the name of the game was. They saw that and they said, we can do better. They said, that's it?
This before. I will speculate that they will do it again. Maybe they will pull back after this video, or if Asma reacted to it, or something like that. So anyway... Thanks, guys, for the huge amount of support.
Yep.
You guys, like, gave roughly, like, over 1,000 subs.
Goddamn.
And only had, like, 2,000 accumulated over, like, 6 years. Within one day, you guys are crazy. Also, everybody's super nice. I only heard positive things. And the one guy that had something negative to say, everybody was defending me. Which is fine. You guys don't need to defend me. I can defend myself. And there's some more things I want to talk about, more about the development aspects, not Quinfall specific, but more like MMOs, do's and don'ts.
Yeah.
Why some things should be shown more, why some things should not be shown. So yeah, I hope you see you guys around, and see you until the next video.
God fucking damn, man.
It makes no sense.
Like, remember what I said before about how, like, there's the MMO paradox? Yeah, I'll link you guys the video. Yeah, make sure to give this guy a sub. Yeah, we watched this video the other day. I guess a lot of you guys really liked it. Yeah, this is so fucking good, man. Like, so the MMO paradox is, like, the more people know about a game, the less excited they are about it. But the less people know about a game, the more excited they are about it. And I think this is what happened with the Quinfall. Is that everybody's super hyped up about this game just because they're hoping. They're like, oh man, I really hope it's gonna be good. I really hope it's gonna be good. This is gonna be it, guys. It's gonna be amazing. It's like a scratch off lottery ticket. Yeah, that's what it really is, man. I thought the Quinfall was a meme. No, it's not about like Quinn on the streamer or anything like that. It's just an actual game. Well, I mean, it's not really an actual game, but, you know, it's something that's kind of close to that, right? I mean, it's an actual, like, as I said, it's like an IKEA store where you're going around the IKEA store looking at all the different things that you could buy, right? So, like, you could go, like, maybe Unreal should, like, pay them, like, a fee for advertising their store. You know, like, you could, maybe the Quinfall is just a sponsorship for the Unreal store. I think that must be it, guys. Yeah, a free closed beta. Yeah, I mean, it's gaming sold normally. Guys, I'm gonna be real. Like, I think that it's kind of obvious that Alana Pierce said these devs are incentivized to make these shitty games because content creators will give them eyes. Yep, we sure will. Oh, absolutely. Oh, 100% people are going to look at this stuff. Yeah, definitely. I'm finishing up. What's this here? And something for that. Yeah, actually a great expose video. Yeah, this was incredible. I had no idea about any of this. Yeah, wow. Didn't a game show debut Quinfall? I don't remember. Actually, yeah, I genuinely don't remember about that. But yeah, this is just incredible, man. Holy fucking shit. The Quinfall deep dive. Yeah, give the video a like, give him a sub. That was fucking nuts. Oh my god. It's your fault? Wait, so you guys think that, am I the one that destroyed the game? Do you think that's what happened? Like, me covering the game has killed it? I did this? Oh, man. I mean, you could be right. What went wrong with gaming?
They've been my main hobby for most of my life. I love video games. They've been my main hobby for most of my life, and now I make videos about video games, which is great. But recently I've been analysing new games and critiquing new systems, and I've noticed a slow but insidious trend toward games becoming more and more monetized, but not fairly monetized.
And of course not. Because if they were fairly monetized, then people wouldn't want to buy them. People want to buy the unfair advantage.
Player monetized. It's the feeling you get when you look at a battle pass in a game you've already paid full price for. It's the tiny slither of sadness when a game you want has different exclusive levels for different consoles, and you'll know you'll never get to experience every part of that game now. It's that...
They had the same thing, I remember, with Soul Calibur in, like, the GameCube era. Like, the GameCube version had Link, and I think that the Xbox and PlayStation 1 had different exclusive characters, too. Like, this is not something that's new, but it's something that's much more common.
Cosmetic you want, costing 1,005 gems, but the gems are sold in packs of 1,004. It's the knowledge that year on year, the microtransactions from FIFA Ultimate Team alone make more money than Elden Ring's entire sale run. It's the unfortunate...
Let's hear that again, boys. Let's hear that one more time. Who fucking wants to hear how gaming is nowadays? Let's go.
2004. It's the knowledge that year on year, the microtransactions from FIFA Ultimate Team alone make more money than Elden Ring's entire sale run. It's the...
Man. Fucking hell. Yeah, wow. It's depressing? Yeah, it is.
The unfortunate reality of gaming after the marketing executives took over. And it's hard to explain exactly how or when it changed, but explaining things is what I do. So let's go back to the start of gaming and work out when this whole mess started. And then I'll actually pinpoint the exact thing, the specific design...
Is it going to be the horse in Oblivion? I bet it's going to be the horse in Oblivion or something like that.
...choice, which makes new games
feel
wrong. Welcome, I'm Josh Hayes. Let's work out what the hell went wrong with the monetization of gaming. As usual, a massive thank you to all the supporters on Patreon, Twitch and YouTube who keep the channel alive. More information on how you can support at the end. For now, let's begin. Let's go back to the 1980s and early 1990s. The video game revolution was kicking... Let's begin. Let's go back...
I had this game on my calculator, and I would have people pay me because we had to clear our calculators every, like, Tuesday for tests, and I had 2 calculators. And I would have people pay me every Wednesday to recopy Asteroids and Doom onto their TI-84 calculators. And I would get like a quarter for it every single time, man. Those were the good days.
Back to the 1980s and early 1990s. The video game revolution was kicking off, but home consoles weren't yet mainstream.
Grind never stops, that's right.
You put your money in and play the game, effectively making arcades the socially accepted pay-to-play model. There's no denying arcades were bloody expensive. I remember dropping way more than I should have done to complete Time Crisis, but while this was expensive, there was a very simple relationship between the game, the money, and the player. Pay money, get access to the whole game. Victory depends on your skill. Game designers knew it was a simple transaction, and they knew someone would simply play as long as they were able to, so they had to make the game hard so you would die more, and so pay more. This is why the Turtles...
This is the best example of this is the Lion King on Super Nintendo. Is that the people that made it went on record and they said, we're sorry, we made this game so hard, so you had to rent it twice.
This game
I'm
has
not
that
kidding.
underwater bit. It's why House of the Dead bosses were damage sponges. It's why Ghosts and Goblins was everything that Ghosts and Goblins
This was
is.
brutal.
In the early days of home consoles, when people would rent games, we even called difficult levels blockbuster levels, designed to make the rental period longer, and so you'd have to keep renewing it. So
I don't remember that term, but okay.
why don't these money-hungry
good.
games make us feel the same way as modern money-hungry games? Well, it's because the trade of money for game was simple, and there was nothing...
I think another reason why it was okay is because we were kids and we didn't spend all of our time thinking about it. Like, for example, now we always think about, like, all this stuff. It's, like, hyper-analyzed. And back then, we never thought about this shit at all. We were just like, oh, new game, buy game. That's it. There was no thinking whatsoever. It's unironically, ignorance is bliss.
insidious about the transaction itself. You knew what you were giving, and you knew what you were getting. And if you were to break down the design time of a game into a pie chart at that point, it might look something like this. Story, graphics, narrative connections between them, mechanics, marketing...
I'm gonna be honest, like, except for the fucking Squaresoft games, this fucking pie part is not there in any of the other games. Like, there are so many of the games, it's like, you know, fucking, like, Duke Nukem. The president's been kidnapped. Are you a bad enough dude to rescue the president? Let's find out. There it is. All right, that's it. That's all there is to it. And maybe you hook up with a girl in like the third level, and that's it. What was the first arcade game you ever played? I played Gauntlet. That was my first ever arcade game that I played. I played it at Chuck E. Cheese, and I was so young that I would shoot the food with other people that would play with my mom and I. And I could use the excuse that I was so young that I didn't know what I was doing. But I did. Bro, I knew exactly what I was doing.
testing, and then how much a go at the arcade costs. There was a lot going on in the development of a game at these times.
Yeah, the other ones that I remember so well, I remember the Jurassic Park, the rail shooter. I remember playing that for like an hour at Chuck E. Cheese. I remember, obviously, the Simpsons game, and then there was also the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. And I always liked Galaga, the one where you're like in the ship and you can like fly around. Metal Slug, yes! Yes, I remember I played that at Blazer Laser Tag. Oh, fuck, man. Yeah, I think those were the ones that I really liked. Those are the ones I went hard as fuck on.
But it's all focused on making a game good, because at that time, good games make the most money. When a company discovered a successful game, they couldn't just augment the original with downloadable content or extra levels, because that technology didn't exist yet. They'd have to make a complete sequel, and so gamers got more games. Jump forward to the mid-1990s, the home console market had taken off. You buy a console, you buy a game, and then you play that game. Now, the whole lives mechanic in games at this time was a holdover from the arcade design space and wasn't actually needed in home consoles because you didn't need the player to put more money in. Dying when you have three lives.
I think obviously there was a certain element of skill to it where like you get better at, for example, whenever you'd play Castlevania or you play Mario Brothers, you lose all of your lives and then you get better at repeating the old levels. But yeah, definitely he's right.
Then restarting from your last save, or just dying and restarting from the save anyway with no arbitrary life limit, was functionally the same thing, but design moves slowly. Away from the arcade model, you no longer paid per play, and you now paid per game, and you then played as much as you wanted. Games were expensive, of course, but when you bought a game, it was complete.
Games were actually quite expensive back in the day. People might not remember this, but like video games back in the 90s were like $40 and $50. $50 in 1999 was a lot of fucking money, man.
Shipped with bugs, it would just have bugs forever. If it shipped with secret unlockable stuff, it would have that forever. When you owned the game, you owned the ability to play as much as you want of the complete experience. And this was a very simple and fair transaction.
Yes.
While the arcade was, here's a game, pay us to have a go, The console was, here's a game, pay us to keep it and play it whenever. But the home gaming scene wasn't just consoles, it was also PCs. Now, back then PC gaming wasn't as mainstream as it is today, but it did come with one major advantage.
PC gaming was actually complete garbage back then. I know people might reminisce on how great 90s games were. Yes, you're right. Warcraft 2 Tides of Darkness was fucking amazing. But you fucking forget all of those games that were sitting there in the Circuit City bargain bin, and they should have been in the fucking garbage. They were so bad that you would play them, they wouldn't load. My mom would always say, like back in the 80s, whenever she'd try to buy a new game, it was like 50-50. If you buy the new software, if it works or not, then you have to call IBM and figure out what's going on, and then it doesn't work, and then it's like, well, it is what it is. So that's what happens, man. Like I've had that happen with I think I had a Duke Nukem game had that. But it's like before, I think the turning point was whenever they started selling the games in the big boxes like this, that's whenever the games actually started being good. But whenever they would sell them in like these little fucking pieces of plastic, like a rapper giving out their mixtape at like some party or something downtown, the mixtape rapper ones were fucking garbage. They were so bad.
Because the PC held a load of data files on its hard drive instead of just reading them from the disk or cart like a console, developers could create additional content for a game and sell that. Like the incredible RPG Baldur's Gate releasing in 1998 and then the multi-hour-long expansion Tales of the Sword Coast in 1999. This was a time in gaming where developers could develop additional content, but when they did, it was usually a lot of content. PC games saw expansion after expansion, Morrowind seeing the Tribunal and Blood Moon expansions, Diablo 2, then the Lord of Destruction expansion, and all the extra modules for Neverwinter Nights. This was additional content for a game without being a sequel.
I mean, Blizzard had this too, right? There was like Beyond the Dark Portal for Warcraft 2, and there was Brood War. The Brood War was an expansion pack right there for StarCraft.
But again, gamers didn't hate this because the transaction was very simple to understand and it felt fair.
People would sometimes complain about an expansion because they just had to spend more money. But I think that comparatively, yes, it was received positively.
You gave them money, you got an experience designed to be the most fun it could possibly be. The biggest difference in this era is there's no trickery. You're not being manipulated. It's just a straight-up understandable product. If we again take the idea...
I think that people would complain about games being incomplete back then or bad, but it was less likely because you couldn't really patch things live after you shipped them. So there were less incomplete games that got shipped. And the ones that were incomplete, people don't remember them because they were garbage and nobody played them. Remember the free CD-ROM games from magazines? Yeah, you'd get them in the middle and you could play the demo of a game. Yeah, I remember that. I got some of those for Xbox even.
Of breaking down game development time into a pie chart, you've probably got a few new bits to the pie by now. Magazine adverts and articles, some TV ads, and the arcade price replaced with a box price. But it is still mostly... make a good game, and you will make good money.
Yeah.
Then in 2004, online gaming really started to kick off, with World of Warcraft being released, but Blizzard aren't the bad guys in this story, at least not yet. For now, we need to look to the east, to another popular online game from Korea called MapleStory. Now,
oh my fucking god. I couldn't believe whenever people played this. Whenever I actually saw what this game looked like, I thought everybody was joking. I was like, no, you're not actually playing this though, right? I mean, like, this is all like a meme or something? Like, no, there's no way. But no, bro, like, people went hard on this. There's even a MapleStory 2 now. I can't believe it.
And the small toy capsules gachapon had been popular for years. You put money into a gachapon machine and get a random toy of varying rarity.
Oh, great.
These systems appeal to people who like collecting things and people who like random chance or mystery. It's basically gambling on a rather inconsequential...
It's gambling for children. Yeah, it just gets them into it so they understand it, they know how it works, and they're ready for whenever they get older. Yeah, like we had the same thing. How many of you guys had those little fucking things you put a quarter in or 2 quarters in and you turn it and then like something comes out? You're like, oh, I really hope I get the car sticker. And it comes out and it's a sticker of a banana again. Oh, fuck, man. Mom, can I have 50 cents? Yeah, I understand this all too well.
level, but the psychology behind it is very, very powerful. So MapleStory introduced an in-game gachapon style system.
Yeah.
100 yen got you a ticket for a random in-game item, and many people consider this to be the first example of a random loot box.
So this was it. This piece of shit weeb game from the 2000s ruined video gaming. It wasn't the horse armor. It was this.
But more importantly, this was the first moment in mainstream video games where you could pay money and not know what you were getting. You were no longer paying for the game or for
my statement on this and my stance on this has always been very clear. Everything that you buy in a video game, you should know exactly what you're buying. You should not buy a chance at something. You should not buy a roll at something. You should not buy something that buys a chance at something. You should spend money and get immediately exactly what you spent the money for.
Established product, you were paying for the mystery, the ephemeral moment of what if between purchase.
Yeah, I'm mad about the honing from yesterday. Yes, I am. It's fucking bullshit.
And eventual prize. And this system made a lot of money. Because
$3
MapleStory was
billion.
online, and other people could see what you won. So it was no longer about having the game and enjoying the game. It was now about a sense of community and prestige when you have something somebody else doesn't. If you make
that's the one thing that people love. People love to be the special boy. You know, oh yeah, I'm the special boy. I have the cool item. Absolutely.
game multiplayer, competition amongst players becomes a thing, and there are a subset of players who enjoy being seen as the person with the best stuff. And unlike real gachapon machines, which were either a physical distance to travel to or had a queue by them or sometimes just sold out, virtual gachapon tickets were unlimited, entirely within the company's control and could be bought constantly. MapleStory already had the in-game items made, so they were selling the excitement of chance, and they were tapping into the collector and completionist mentality of many hardcore gamers.
12-year-olds.
So game developers began to see they didn't actually need to sell a gaming experience anymore. They could instead sell the small adrenaline spike of potential. This was a turning point. A moment in...
So MapleStory ruined gaming. I think that's pretty fair. Yeah.
Investors realized it was completely worthwhile to dedicate at least some game development time, not to the game itself, but to systems within the game designed simply to extract money from the player after they had started playing, but without giving them a complete new game. This is the first part of the puzzle for where we are today. So let's put this idea of sell random chance into a little box. A box of all the design tricks which don't favour the player or make the game necessarily any better. A box of design tricks which don't make you think, oh my god, this is amazing, I need to tell all my friends.
Sounds like a great box.
But instead, use the game as a simple vehicle for additional monetization. Now, the techniques in this box are not games themselves. They cannot exist on their own. They aren't symbiotic with a game because they don't enhance each other. They are parasitic because they need the game to survive but don't necessarily improve it. We'll call this box abusive monetization strategies.
Yeah, it's about right. No, I think it's very true. Is that a lot of these systems are designed in a way that they do make the game worse. Or not utilizing these systems makes the game worse. That's like one of the worst things that pay for convenience in games has, is that it makes it to where it is financially lucrative for a developer to make a game inconvenient. Because now they can sell the shortcut.
Or for a more catchy title, Pandora's Box of Bad Design. The main danger of this box is, if we were to take the pie chart of game development time now, knowing that this box exists and knowing the techniques inside it can make a decent amount of money, the finance people know they need to find space for the techniques within this box somewhere on the pie chart, which means something else must lose out. Jump forward 2 years to 2006. The Western gaming market
Just like I said. Yep. Here we go.
it hasn't yet discovered the mass appeal and psychological dominance that loot boxes have, but they have discovered something just as important. Gamers will pay money to look different. And it all kicks off with this stupid horse. Now,
oh, God. There it is. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it.
I've made a complete video on the history of this course, but the short story is The Elder Scrolls Oblivion was a great game with some great DLC, Knights of the Nine and the Shivering Isles.
I never had any of the DLC.
But you could also pay a few dollars to give your horse armor. Now, it's important to understand this is completely cosmetic. It doesn't actually make your horse any better in combat or defend it, but you can buy it. And people did. In fact, a lot of people bought it. And this highlighted another thing. Making a game takes a long time.
Well, everybody was very upset about this, and people would say like, "Oh, if you buy this, you're a loser or you're stupid or something like that," right? But yeah, I never bought this shit. Like, at this point, I have the strategy guide for Oblivion, but I don't have the fucking horse armor. I don't know how to download that. My mom was like, bro, she wouldn't even buy, like, she wouldn't put her credit card on the internet until like 2015. Like, I would have to go to fucking Target and buy those fucking prepaid WoW game cards for her because she would not want to have her card. Give that, you want me to give that to Blizzard? What the hell are they going to do with that? What are they going to do with that? What are they going to do with my card? Yeah, dude, she was not about that.
But once the main game is made, the development time it would take to make a cosmetic for that game is relatively short. And that cosmetic can be sold for a small amount of money, but it can be sold many, many times. The cost is more...
Well, it's very simple, right? So, like, if you make something and you sell it for $1, and you make Elden Ring and you sell it for $60... do you think that the thing that you made that you're selling for $1 is only 1/60th easier than making Elden Ring? No, it's probably 1/10,000th easier than making Elden Ring. So in terms of optimization and min-maxing, you're going to min-max selling the thing that you make for $1 a billion times than selling the thing that you sell for $60 100 times or 1,000 times.
But the sales volume is high, hence microtransaction. Separate from the idea of a complete expansion...
I hate how people call them microtransactions, but there's packages to buy it for $100. How the fuck is that a microtransaction? It's more than the game. That's a fucking... That's a macro transaction. I wish people would start saying that. Macro transactions. Every time that it's more than like $3.
Which would expand a game and make the game experience bigger, a microtransaction adds hardly anything beyond the original experience. It's almost inconsequential, but it's not free.
Jesus.
So now developers know expansions are a bit risky, but microtransactions are very safe and very small. Even if they don't sell, it's not a great waste of developer time. So the focus shifted away from selling a main game with lots of expansions to selling the main game and then lots and lots and lots and lots of small additional things. The problem with this is now developers had a vested interest in keeping the coolest cosmetics or the most fun little things out of the base game and
that is something that I have complained about for, I don't know, fucking 10 years. Like, I poured salt on my head about this in 2012, and everybody said I was a loser. But now, 10 years later, they realize that I was right all along. Yeah, I fucking knew this shit was gonna happen. Because if you tell people that you can make money doing this, they're gonna start doing it. Of course.
Game and instead releasing them as additional microtransactions, which is something we'll see happen more and more. And this absolutely does not favour the player.
No, it does
because
not.
It leads to an experience where you as a player, even though you have bought the game, when you sit down to play it, you do not feel like you have access to the whole game. Because you don't.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, you don't have access to it. That's the reason why.
It used to be you bought a game and got a game. Now it's you buy a game and you get the main framework which you need to pay more to flesh out. So let's add sell small additions to your game as microtransactions to the box of abusive monetization strategies. And as the box grows, so does the space it would need to take up on the game development
It's
part.
getting bigger.
Now we head into 2009 to the rise of Facebook and one of the cornerstone...
Oh, dude, like these Facebook games, like I remember there would be times where like people would say that their grandma got addicted to like Farmville or something on Facebook, and she was spending more time on Farmville and the cat's dead. And it's been dead for like 2 weeks, and like she doesn't even know about it because she's just been playing Farmville the whole time. Holy fuck. Yeah, people got addicted to this.
Of casual gaming and monetization.
Oh my god, yeah, the Mafia game too.
Farmville. Farmville was everywhere
Yep.
in the late 2000s, made by Zynga, and
I
these
never
guys
played
were
this.
masters, because Facebook was everywhere, everyone was on it, and even non-gamers were gaming, which sounds great, but they were burning through the game too quickly. They were enjoying it and then just moving on, which was not great,
can't
because
have that.
Facebook is all about retention. So Farmville did something really counterintuitive to increase player retention. They gave you daily energy, so you couldn't progress more than a certain amount every day. Now, these games were most
And this is how every game is now. You have like these weird fucking throttling systems that make it to where you can't do any progress. Now they have this. The thing is, some of them are okay. I actually think that some of these throttling systems are fine, but most of them are not. Like, for example, only being able to do a raid and get loot from it once a week in WoW is fundamentally the same thing. It's just done in a way that's not harmful to the player. Conduit energy, yeah, exactly. Dailies, fucking Lost Ark Resonance. I forgot even what it was called in Diablo Immortal, but it was probably, there was 3 different versions of that in Diablo Immortal, probably. Yeah, a Vitality in Tower of Fantasy.
played by people on phones and laptops, and people got bored pretty quickly. And one of the best ways to prevent boredom is to limit your time with something. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, as they say. So energy systems limiting what actions you could take, or timers connected to growing your crops or building things and you couldn't progress them quicker.
Well, it's not just the energy systems, it's that the energy systems enabled them to also monetize bypassing the energy systems. That's I think the real reason why these got implemented. It's not because people would stop playing the game. It's basically them putting ankle weights on you and then telling you that for $5 they'll take them off for the week.
Making the player progress only in short but intense bursts and then wait for their next fix of game.
Yeah.
You either force them to pay more money to gain more energy, or to...
It's like you're wearing like a chastity belt for 23 hours and they take it off for 1 fucking hour, and then after that you've got it back on for the rest of the day. Unless you pay $5.
skip the timers, or you make them return tomorrow. And this is game design focused on the formation of daily habits. The psychological power of the habit has been studied for years. Motivational speakers talk about them, self-help books push them, and now gaming companies were looking to use them as a way to turn players into users. Because it wasn't just about the game being fun anymore. The focus wasn't on giving the player the best experience you could give.
Well, I think it's very important whenever you look at the terminology, right? I mean, it's a terminology change. Like, players are no longer players, they are now users. I think that's huge.
Them and letting the player enjoy it at their own pace. The focus was about the game being effective at encouraging a specific behavior response from the user.
Yeah.
Encouraging the user to return day after day is habit forming. Someone who plays your game habitually is more likely to remain playing even after the game itself has stopped being enjoyable. They're just continuing the habit. Along with this, game designers knew you would also have friends on Facebook that may not be playing the game.
Oh my god, the updates from Farmville. Holy fuck, that was so annoying. Share your progress. Share your progress. Oh, somebody gave you a gift. Log on to Farmville to claim it. Oh, no.
And they wanted those friends to play the game, which is why they put the mechanics in the game.
I remember one time there was like a hot girl on Facebook, and I saw I had a notification from her, and I was like, yes. And then it was Farmville.
Share this achievement with your friend to get bonuses and get boosts. A huge amount of people began playing Facebook games not because they thought they would be the type of game they enjoy, but because they were doing their friend a favor by starting up. They were supporting their farm.
Indentured servitude online. I love it.
They were joining their mafia. And just like MapleStory's gacha being viewed by the players in the game, you could share the progress of your farm. You could show off how far along you were with...
recruit your nephew and your grandma to come work on your farm and fucking work for free on your video game farm on Facebook. It's just like, whenever you break it down, it's so stupid, but it worked and people did it.
spurred competition. So we can add limiting progression per day and encourage